Hello, everyone. It's Lisa from lisafurlan.com, and I'm a crowdfunding consultant for authors, helping authors successfully crowdfund their books on Kickstarter and IndieGoGo. Now, it's been a minute because COVID. Funny enough, like 2020 was one of the biggest years for my clients for crowdfunding their books. And a lot of people were confused and surprised by this. A lot of people thought, people, financial insecurity, no one has money. But they did. They had a lot of money for crowdfunding and for spending money online. Everyone was shopping online. And so things like Kickstarter or Indiegogo were really successful because people wanted to help. They had disposable income because they weren't traveling, they weren't doing anything. And they were really eager to participate and engage in feel good projects, which all of my authors do. We all do feel good projects. So if you feel like it's not the right time to launch a crowdfunding campaign, just know that during our most devastating global pandemic, people were more successful this year than I had ever seen, ever, like way more successful. And it just seemed like everything just flowed and felt right. And everyone is winning, right? I love that. Everyone wins. So basically, crowdfunding is pandemic proof. So when people are saying, oh, like, what's the right month to launch? What's the right week to launch? Like, anytime. You can launch anytime because you can launch during pandemic and raise 25,000. You can launch on a Friday and raise 25,000. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if you follow the steps and you listen to advice and you have a plan and you engage your audience, you will be okay. And so that's really the take-home message there. Okay, so tips that I give every author if they are considering crowdfunding their books. Tip number one, back other book campaigns on the platform that you're interested in. So if you can't decide between Kickstarter or Indiegogo, back a project on both and see, obviously back projects that speak to you and that you have some type of emotional investment in, or either for the book itself or for the creator. And it doesn't have to be a lot of money. I'm not saying spend $50 for each campaign, and it doesn't have to be a huge investment. But put some of your money into somebody else's project just so you see how it feels, because you're going to be asking a lot of people to do the same for you. So if you're not willing to do it for someone else, why would someone else do it for you, right? So it's this kind of goodwill karma thing that we're going to build up here, and also community building, which is so important. So go ahead and back a few projects, as many as speak to you, and get excited about it and see what it's like. And I encourage people to back projects that are going to be like a wild success, so you can kind of see what type of messages people give you then. And I would back a campaign that may or may not be successful to see what types of messages come out in that way. Because then you'll feel the tug, you'll feel the psychological, emotional tug of, oh, I really want that book and I want the creator to be successful, and it's not going to work. I'm going to share on my Facebook page a few times, or I'm going to share this campaign link with somebody else. And so there are things I will do as a backer if I see that a creator is struggling. And those are the types of things that you are going to be asking your backers to do in case you struggle. And just experience the joy of crowdfunding from the backer's perspective, and make sure this is really something you want to do as a creator. So that's tip number one, be part of the community and back campaigns. Okay, tip number two, do a lot of research. Do a lot of research. I have a ton of resources on my blog, of course. I've done interviews with tons of authors and have tips and videos and whatever. That's fine. But also go to the platform itself and do research. And how I do market research is probably, it makes sense to me. I'm not sure it makes sense to anybody else, but I have a whole Excel spreadsheet that I share with my clients. And when I do market research, I probably research anywhere from 10 to 12 campaigns, or however many really I feel like, until I get a good representative sample of successful and unsuccessful campaigns. And then I really dive deep into the analytics to see what they did, what they didn't do. I may even, depending on the year, you have to factor in the year it was created as well, because Kickstarter in 2016 is a different animal than 2021. So you have to be mindful of when projects were successful. And then if it was a recent campaign, like let's say it was in January and we're in March, I would even go to the person's social media and see what types of messaging they they posted back then. You'll miss out on, of course, not subscribing to the newsletter, so you don't have insights into that. But even just monitoring their social media timeline can be really insightful in terms of what messages they sent and just the overall graphics they used, things like that. I mean, get a sense of what they were doing. And I try to do some really extensive research that way. So research, see what works, see what doesn't work, see what resonates with you. But always, you're going to have to be yourself. You can't copy someone's campaign. And I wrote a whole article about that. You can't copy someone else's campaign. It has to be yours, and it has to be your audience and everything like that. So there's that. Okay, tip number 3, build your audience. Take the time to build your audience. Don't rely on influencers or other people to have your audience, because you're not in control of that. You're not in control of when someone sends an email to their newsletter. You're not in control of whether someone posts your campaign to their timeline. You're not in control of that. So it really has to be on you to build your audience and have conversations with your future backers and readers to get them excited about the campaign and get them on board. That's your responsibility. That's nobody else's responsibility. So if you're not taking the time to make those connections and build your audience, you're going to have an uphill struggle. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means you're really going to struggle if you're trying to raise anything like $10,000. You have to have a plan going in. You have to build your audience and really focus on that. And that takes time. That takes a lot of time. People talk about, oh, I gained 1,000 subscribers in a day and this and that and the other. Okay, how many of them converted? Like, how many of those people actually converted and spent money with you? Obviously, the bigger the numbers, the lower conversion rate you can have and still be successful. But I think it's important that we take the time to actually build genuine connections, offer value, learn what messages resonate with your readers, and take all that knowledge, because that is going to serve you in the long term over the complete marketing of your book. Okay, and that is where I'm going to end in terms of tips. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below and we can continue this. Be sure to like and follow or comment and subscribe, or do whatever you do with this post if you found it useful or helpful, or have just more comments about how to crowdfund your book on Kickstarter and IndieGoGo. Bye now.